Hello, welcome to another book review. I'm your host, Kristen, and today I will be reviewing the YA fantasy book House of Night, Chosen, by PC and Kristen Cast. In case you're interested in reading the book afterward, content warnings in the book are blood, violence, ableism, racism, exotification, slurs, sexism, sex, grooming, transphobia, murder, and homophobia. For this review, I will start with the overall plot, then world building, and finally the characters. Just a note, there will be spoilers in this review. I will also briefly touch upon a character getting groomed into a bad relationship, so if that type of content is upsetting for you, you may want to skip over this review. Let's begin. The main premise is that Zoey Redbird must now try to restore Stevie Ray's humanity after the events of the last book. However, she has no idea how to do so, and Stevie Ray is losing more of her humanity every day. Zoey also has the issues of her professors turning up dead within the school grounds, along with her having to juggle 3 boyfriends. Although not much occurs in this plot either, it's at least somewhat better than the last book, in that something actually happens, and it's not just all filler. However, most of the book is Zoey complaining about having 3 boyfriends, but once again not solving the issue. Worse, in this book, Zoey is approached by one of her professors at a vulnerable point in her life and is groomed into having sex with him. It is written to be romantic, but the scene is creepy and downright disgusting. Zoey only realizes her mistake afterward, but only because Lauren cheated on her, and not because their relationship is illegal for a very good reason. Again, although it's not Zoey's fault for being groomed, the authors really need to be more aware of how they portray those relationships. When it comes to tackling the issue with Stevie Ray, the most Zoey does by herself is find Stevie Ray the first time and organize meeting up with her again. Most of the heavy lifting, such as sneaking out bags of blood from the kitchen and finding a place for Stevie Ray to stay, are done by Aphrodite, so the reader never gets to experience those scenes. As for the world building, the only new concept introduced are more details about the red fledglings. These new fledglings embody the stereotype about vampires, such as they must drink blood, can mind control people, and they have to be invited inside, and they burn up in the sunlight. There is a really good scene where Stevie Ray invites Zoey to drink blood with her, but that scene doesn't last for long, nor does it go anywhere. With every book, Zoey gets worse and worse as the main character, and her actions are supposed to be seen as good. In Chosen, besides other behavior mentioned previously, Zoey also mocks the homeless and later commits manslaughter. While drinking Heat's blood, she tosses 2 stereotyped black men into the street using the elements, where they are hit by a truck. Afterward, Zoey feels minimal guilt over it, and worries if Heath considers her to be mean now. Yes, that's the exact wording, and even uses the incident to one-up Stevie Ray on how awful her day has been. I just have no words for this. How do you write a scene that awful? Not only is stereotyping the 2 black men as dangerous thugs racist, but the fact that Zoey takes zero responsibility for her actions afterward. Instead, Zoey is so focused on her boy problems that she pushes every issue to the side, including that her best friend has been eating people. To sum up, Zoey is an awful person and a horrible protagonist. When I consider that the character that lost their humanity a better person than Zoey, that's a sign that the authors messed up. Speaking of Stevie Ray, Zoey's friend is also not a good person, but at least she has a better reason for it. However, when Stevie Ray attacks a homeless woman and tries to drink her blood, Zoey is merely disgusted that the homeless woman may have lice. Furthermore, although the main conflict of the book is supposed to be focused around Stevie Ray struggling to control her emotions as she tries to ration blood, the most that actually happens is her sending Zoey frantic texts. Without the reader actually seeing those effects, the plot loses all tension. As far as characters go, the twins and Damien are still flat. The most interesting they do get is when they find out that Zoey has been lying by omission about Stevie Ray being dead for an entire month. The more the series goes on, the more of Aphrodite's personality gets leached away. In the last book, she was still not the most likable character, but she was interesting to read about. Here, most of her personality is being shaped into being a minion for Zoey and solving almost all of Zoey's problems. Eric is Zoey's current first boyfriend and someone I never mentioned before because he was more of a background character for the past 2 books. However, he does discover that Zoey has been cheating on him for the entirety of their relationship, which is a topic I want to touch on real quick. Although Eric does go a little too far in insulting Zoey once he finds out, it does make sense given how hurt he is. However, the writing treats Eric like the bad guy for getting upset that Zoey cheated on him. What Nefret does as an antagonist this time is killing a bunch of people off screen and asking Lauren to groom Zoey in order to get secrets from her. At the end of the book, Nefret also declares war on humans. Although it is good to see her in a more active role, I do still wish the reader got more from Nefret, such as actually seeing her commit the murders. Again, she doesn't seem all that threatening right now. Overall, I give this book 1 star. Though it did have more substance in the last novel, what the reader got was Zoey either being racist, being groomed by Lauren, or just recaps and filler. There were no stakes when it came to Stevie Ray's plot, and most of the novel was just Zoey complaining until another character or Nyx solved her issues. I hope the writing improves in the next book.